Welcome to Spiedel's Federal Tax Minute. I'm your host, Catherine Zidane. This week, we're covering some of the tax bills that are moving through Congress. Sign up for Spiedel's quarterly federal tax update webinar, and you'll get reliable and pertinent updates on trending tax topics. Get details on this subscription webinar series and register for a full year of updates or just a single session at spiedel.com under webinars. H.R. 6506, the Taxpayer Due Process Enhancement Act, was passed by the U.S. House of Representatives on May 19th. The bill would suspend the period of limitations on filing a claim for credit or refund during collection action proceedings, prohibit the crediting of overpayments against a disputed tax liability during those proceedings, and expand the tax court's jurisdiction. The bill is in response to the 2025 Supreme Court decision in Commissioner v. Zook, where the Supreme Court held that the tax court lacks jurisdiction over a collection due process appeal once the IRS is no longer pursuing collection through levy. The tax court is the only forum in which taxpayers can litigate tax matters without having to first pay the disputed tax in full. This bill would mandate the tax court retains jurisdiction to hear a case, quote, whether or not the secretary abandons the collection action or proposed collection action at issue in such determination, end quote, ensuring that taxpayers have access to a prepayment forum for disputes. Also, H.R. 8899, the Bipartisan Digital Asset Parity Act, has been introduced in the House, which addresses the tax treatment of digital transactions. Specifically, the bill addresses the treatment of regulated payment stablecoin transactions, a digital asset trading safe harbor, the application of the wash sale rules to digital assets, charitable contributions and qualified appraisals of digital assets, and the tax treatment of certain digital asset activities, among other provisions. In late April 2026, the following additional bills were also passed by the U.S. House of Representatives and sent to the Senate for consideration. The Doug LaMalfa Federal Disaster Tax Relief Certainty Act would extend the current removal of the 10% AGI and $100 per casualty loss thresholds for qualified net disaster losses and replace them with a $500 per casualty threshold for pre-2027 tax years. The bill would also exclude any qualified wildfire relief payments paid to compensate qualified wildfire disaster victims after 2025 for expenses not otherwise covered by insurance for qualified wildfire disasters declared after 2014 and before 2027. The Supporting Early Childhood Educators Deductions Act would allow early childhood educators to claim both the above-the-line deduction, currently capped at $350, and the itemized deduction for educator expenses for expenses incurred after 2025. The Taxpayer Experience Improvement Act would require the IRS to, among other things, expand the online tools available to taxpayers by showing the status of their returns and any refunds due, as well as reasons why return processing was suspended. The bill would also establish a callback service system for all taxpayer interfacing phone numbers by calendar year 2028. And the Taxpayer Notification and Privacy Act would require the IRS, under specified circumstances, to notify taxpayers of each item of information sought from a third party, which is currently not required, and provide the taxpayer with at least 45 days to respond before the IRS contacts the third party. Many of the provisions contained in the Taxpayer Experience Improvement Act and the Taxpayer Notification and Privacy Act are also contained in two bills currently pending in the Senate: the Taxpayer Assistance and Services Act and the Improving IRS Customer Services Act. To date, these Senate bills have yet to be voted on. We covered these and other tax bills in a recent issue of Spiedel's Federal Tax Letter, a monthly newsletter plus a searchable online archive of back issues that keeps you at the leading edge of the federal tax issues that impact your clients. You can get more details and subscribe at spiedel.com under Publications. That's all for this week. Join us next time for another episode of Spiedel's Federal Tax Minute.